around
10,000
10,000
satellites. Wow.
Yeah, 10,000 satellites. Yeah, and launch cost dropped significantly. Basically 2 order of magnitude. It used to be $100,000. Now it's just few $1,000s. It will be few $100s, and it will open so many new ways how to use the space.
Yeah, manufacturing, like you said, mining, all these things. I mean, Elon Musk shares your vision, but you're filling a void for these gentlemen who are these great visionaries that are building these huge rockets. You're filling the void of how to connect and move these things into different locations. Very exciting. Congratulations.
Yep.
Let's go to Dakin, if I may. Dakin Sloss, brother, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Tony.
Great to have you, man. Tell us a little bit about, you have a unique history. You started out moving in one direction of life. You've made this U-turn or your V-turn, so to speak. And now you're seeming to collect some of the smartest people in the business. I know your fund is, performing at a level. I got a call from Paul Tudor Jones or an email from him the other day, and he was saying, copied the email with someone else telling him about he has money in your fund, but saying we should do some more with this fund. And he called me and said, tell me more about this guy. Is this really real? And in the letter, it talked about you might have some of the highest returns since 2018 for VC funds, or at least in the top grouping. Tell us a little bit about your journey and tell us what you're really driven by. And what are some of these companies, that you've been pulled to that are really changing the planet or have a chance to change the quality of life on Earth?
Well, thank you for having me on, Tony. To start, my journey is I was a physicist and mathematician studying at Stanford, and I thought I was going to go work on academic pursuits. And I really realized I wanted to have an impact on the world here, today, and now. And the way to do that is to build companies like Mikhail and Bill and Jason are doing. And I previously built 2 tech companies. And my experience was I was actually sitting in the hot tub with Gabby and talking about how broken VC is. And I just wrote a blog post about this today. The notion of founder-friendly VC today is someone cuts you a check and leaves you alone, which tells you what the other VCs are doing, which is messing everything up by getting in your way and giving you advice about stuff that they shouldn't be giving you advice and thinking they have the answers ultimately. Yeah. And, I as an entrepreneur was kind of complaining about it. Gabby's like, you're an entrepreneur, go build a product that fixes this. And Prime Movers Lab is the product that fixes it because we're actually actively engaged in supporting our founders. And at the same time, we're humble enough to know that if you've heard the things that they're building right now, nobody knows the answer for how to build these things. We got to figure it out together. And we can kind of take, expert lessons. We've taken a lot of lessons from you, Tony, and that they've applied that help them accelerate. But we've got to figure out how to apply it because these are such brand new contexts. And so, at the end of the day, the thing that motivates me is each of these companies has the ability to radically improve the quality of human life. And I think we do get bombarded by so much negative news, but at the end of the day, this is the most exciting time to be alive. If we compare to what it was like to live 100 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, the quality of life today is already outstanding and extraordinary, and it's due to technology. And in the next decade, the level of improvement in the average human being's life, and in the next 30 years, kings would have killed to be poor today. It's just so incredible.
Yeah, I always tell people that. I always say, listen, a pharaoh, what would a pharaoh have given to be able to fly, right? To go to some place in a few hours that we complain about sometimes instead of a few months or years or never. What would they, a pharaoh couldn't afford to have someone make you a 2-hour movie to entertain you for $150 million and we paid $10 for it today. Like, people have lost track of how great life is. So, tell me, what kinds of returns have you seen by finding these early stage companies and what all these entrepreneurs have said? Maybe I'll put a link for those interested to know more about what you do, because I encourage you to make a video with all these founders telling about what you've done. And it's mind-boggling how you brought the key resources they've needed, not just the capital, but the resources, the people, the elements to really grow their businesses. Tell us a little bit about what kind of growth are you seeing in your fund and what is your vision going forward?
Yeah, we are fortunate that our first fund is on track to be one of the best performing funds of 2018, if not the best performing fund of 2018. It's too early to tell. And I think at the end of the day, though, that doesn't have to do with us. That has to do with the quality of the CEOs, the quality of the visions that they're pursuing. I love I'll butcher this quote, it's one of yours, but you get the level of insight based on the level of impact that you're going out to have. And obviously we're excited to make money, but most of the money we make goes to the same types of causes that you're contributing to and supporting. Much more important is that impact that we can have, and amazing human beings have shown up in our lives because of the impact that we're going to have and because of the contribution that we're going to have. And I think people get this idea around impact. Like, I wouldn't call it we're doing impact investing, because I think the term has been tainted by a lot of people who went out to go fix a problem but didn't think about the economics in the way that Bill, for example, is thinking about the economics. There was a whole wave of clean technology that didn't deliver on the promise because people were on starry-eyed visions, like no pun intended, out in space. And the amazing thing about what we're doing is it's all backed up by science. It's all backed up by hard facts. It's all backed up by cost models where we can see the unit economics of these companies, and we can understand this is not just going to work, it's going to be wildly profitable for their partners, their customers, and for everybody around them. And I think that combination of big vision with really grounded in what can we deliver in the next 12 months? What can our revenues be? What can our unit economics be is important. And it's something that has been divorced in VC, where you get these big visions, but they're just not actually tied to anything real.
I think a lot of, quote, impact investing, like you said, was people saying, I'm going to invest in something because it has the promise to make a difference. But as you said, there were no cost models. And so the returns on many of those have been mediocre, to say the least. And so what I love is this combination of being driven by impact, but with the hard science to show that you can scale something, and then figuring out, as Bill does, and all three have been doing, how do I make sure that you don't have to care about impact to use this technology? You want to use this technology because it's cheaper, better, faster, and that's what gives you the competitive edge. Listen, all of you have built companies from scratch that have tremendous potential. Lots of people have visions, but rarely do people realize those visions. All of you are realizing them right now. You're already realizing them on a huge scale. Some of you have sold previous companies. I'd like each of you, and I'll start with you, Dakin, because you see the common pattern. No, maybe I'll end with you because you see the common patterns. Let me go back to Bill. What do you think are the most important keys for entrepreneurs out there? We have people out there just starting businesses. We have entrepreneurs that are, running billion-dollar companies that started from scratch. What do you think is the difference between the person that envisions it and finally executes it, which is such a small percentage, and those that, keep dreaming about it, they're excited about it, they work at it, but they never get there? What's the difference between envisioning and realization of that vision? Start with you, Bill.
Boy.
I like small questions.
Yeah.
Because anybody asked Bill, it's you, 150 companies, right? 45 IPOs,
First of all, you have to be passionate about what you're doing, for sure, because that's not enough, but it's a requirement. Because no matter what you do, you're going to face hard times. And if you're doing that zigzag path, making it through the zag is challenging. There's always going to be some valley of death in between that you have to cross.